Hello and welcome to the new series of Insurance Unlimited, a limited series podcast. I'm your host, Paul Willoughby, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Stuart Mathews. Hi, Stuart.
Hey, Paul. Good day.
Hey, how are you doing? Are you well?
I'm doing very well. You always ask that, and I appreciate that about you. Yeah, all good. Had a great Thanksgiving weekend, time with family, good weather, extra days off. It's always good for the brain.
Yeah, well, you're based in California, aren't you, Stuart? So we won't talk about the weather because I'm in London and it's atrocious.
I visited you and I've experienced it, and you deserve better.
Very good, very good. Today we're going to talk about the wonderful world of AI, which is ever emerging. I don't think I spoke about AI as much as I have in the last month as I have in my entire life, which is interesting because I have teenage children who have had virtual headsets for a number of years, but the world's gone mad. But a bit of background, I suppose, Stuart. We've known each other for years. We've worked together. We've developed solutions together as partnerships. So can you tell me a little bit about your new world? Because you're working specifically around AI, and I believe that you are working for the University UCLA.
Close. I still can't correct you on this for some reason. And as a guy that went to USC, that's my nemesis is UCLA. We lost to him in football. It was a very difficult season, let me just say. So no, it's UC Irvine. University of California is 10 schools, Merced, Irvine, Riverside, et cetera, and just premier research institutions. And then that's augmented by the Cal State system, which has 20 or 30 big budgets, but lots of research going on here. Reason I made the move was my wife is frustrated with me. I'm always trying something new, which means it's never peaceful and easy to get started. But I decided to make a move. I went into research and development at Experian, where you and I met. Yeah. And I figured, why not continue learning and work on a variety of things as I learned about the job in the Applied Technology Transfer Group over here. Applied Innovation is actually what we're called, Beall Applied Innovation. It's been here 9 years, and it's all about moving technology from concept to research to sometimes nurture it, fund it a little bit more, refine it, and turn it into a product or a company. And it's out the door. We got a medical school, so there's everything from medicine and therapeutics to AI.
Wow, that's fantastic. So you don't yearn to go back to work with us Luddite insurers then that can't get an experiment off the ground?
So many things. Yeah, well, the challenge the insurers have is going end to end to try to prove something, right? Because you've got so many legacy systems in the middle. You don't control your destiny. You can't make the users use it, et cetera. But most of the smart people I'm talking to are using ChatGPT and Claude and other things to get mundane things done and finding all kinds of really cool screenshot moments. Look what you can do. I never thought I'd do this. The new version now does that. It's a whole new way of thinking.
Yeah, and I suppose I joke about a lack of experimentation, but we met because we used to, we worked with Experian on data, and we was experimenting around new business models, new services. So this is something that's sort of quite key to your heart. What makes you stay interested in innovation? How come you're not frustrated?
It's a great question. One is don't stay any place too long, maybe is one thing, because then you can't get overly frustrated. You've learned that lesson too. And take what you know to people that can apply it and utilize it. So the university setting is both a give back. I have 6 students working for me, which is incredible. One of them's a dreamer, technical term, and really talented young people. We output so much talent. Like, why wouldn't you want to come here and pay interns an hourly fair wage to turn out really cool ideas? The thing you and I did was AI at scale, right? That was, we were talking about cyber and insurance models for directors and officers, and we almost took that into Lloyd's and showed it to them. And I think it was you had the crazy idea. Why don't you just do the underpinning of the data, the entity itself and the search to go along with it? Then COVID hit. So it was interesting times.
Yeah, I remember those times well. I think one of the challenges that insurers have, and it's coming out in every conversation I'm having with AI at the moment, is back to that entity piece, which is it's a huge hobby horse of mine. Many are, they're trying to do predictive analytics for claims, for the size and scale of loss. They're trying to do triage, but actually they haven't got an entity to attach it to. So the naming conventions are just so poor in our market because it's a free form text piece. And I just
Yeah,
think
man.
back to the work that we did, probably 4 or 5 years ago now. And that was
18,
really
19. Yeah.
yeah, that's a foundational piece that many insurers are skipping. And then they're really struggling and wondering why they can't move at pace. And it's because they haven't put the foundations in.
Yeah, and they won't get AI right if they don't get that right.
Yes, it's
If you
pretty.
don't have, if you, so we're building some cool stuff here, and that was the lesson. Thank you again, Paul. So we're looking at how can we build a table that describes everything we've done here at UCI, including Paul, the professor. Let's say you taught at Indiana, Purdue, Michigan, and then you
Yep.
came here for the sun, right? What's your corpus of thinking? And then we look at our proposals that are going out, which is all the current stuff as opposed to stuff you wrote about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And grants that are won, right? And then you ask AI to tell you where you're strong, who collaborates with who, but it goes to the professor and their UCI net ID, which is everything to tie it all together. It's got to go to an entity so that you can make assumptions and hold things constant.
Right, fantastic, fantastic. I had this conversation last week about a a lack of data strategy with AI. So again, many insurers are running headfirst into the experimentation piece, but the underlying data strategy, the core work that's the hard bit, hasn't been done. And this is where I'm seeing all the failures in the experiments, and we're going around as Endava to help them with that. But it's a bit too far down the journey, and actually there's too many frustrations by then. So we're kind of going back to core principles, which is that you've got to do the groundwork, otherwise you're building a house on sand.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I've certainly learned over in my career. I was firing away on all cylinders with experiments many years ago. And when I look back, we just didn't have the foundations in place, so it was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, and to do it right really means probably buying data from someone. It's not cheap, and then you become dependent on it. And I understand why people struggle to do it, but you just have to. So we're putting a CRM in here. One that I had actually first came to know, Monday.com, based on seeing it on the tube, on ads in the tube and the escalator going up and down and everything, right? What a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
tool, right? But we got
yeah.
to standardize something. So we've got all sources of data here in our libraries. It's really cool. We have everything because the university is part of the state constitution, and we have contracts to buy Lawrence Livermore labs and all kinds of really cool stuff going on. So insurers should come with you, work with us to work on everything from sustainability to regulatory and compliance stuff. We've got people that are writing about it, postulating what's important and what direction things should go. Is it all solar? Is it solar and hydrogen? We have a nuclear reactor. We're doing, nuke at mini scale experiments. We've got 1,200, 1,000, I'm not sure, homes in University Heights where faculty and other people live on the grid. Everything's plugged in, monitored. EV cars, all kinds of experiments being run. And, down to humanities where it's all about storytelling and world building. And so modeling what insurers want to have sort of, happening in the world they want to predict off. When you build
Yeah.
that with digital twins and you do the whole approach appropriately, it gets very interesting from a modeling standpoint, as well as explaining it to customers and the board. And here's what we do. Look.
Yeah, it's really interesting because when I think about the experiments that I'm seeing happening at the moment, a lot of it is around operational stuff, right? So insurance companies are 100,000 operational processes, all aggregated up to being able to bind a risk and pay claims at the highest level. But people aren't experimenting as much as I thought they would with sort of risk management services using AI to predict and mitigate risk.
Simulate. Yeah.
And that's where the partnerships come in. That's where we need the clever folk like yourselves to press ahead. But how are you getting on? Are you dragging the insurers kicking and screaming, or is it, are you relieved you're in a different industry?
No, we're still talking to carriers, and I've got all those relationships and people like you that there's absolutely conversations. So cyber is a big topic here, both, how should it be approached to how should it be measured,
Yeah.
and White House people and others got together. We had an AI council. We've got 85 teams on campus building cool products for a focus we're latched onto, which is all about storytelling. So
Mm-hmm.
everything we do is storytelling. Everything from communicating with a coworker, how to work on a project, telling an analyst what to do, trying to sell something to a customer, trying to give a sermon in a church, trying to get a team inspired, everything. It's all storytelling. Trying to be a doctor, explain why to use a certain medicine and why you may have these results, instead of just being a robot, being able to actually deliver it in a way people would care. So everything, theater, all that, we're very focused, and we're calling it narrative, because we think the power of telling a story and being able to take data and make it, wow, human bite-sized and perfect, is really cool. Everything from creative to protections to regs to building stuff. And I think we're going to have our first gen client here on our floor using cutting edge stuff. Can't say much, but there'll be a PR at some point.
That's very exciting.
Making movies and stuff right here in Hollywood land.
Wow, amazing. So what can insurers really learn from that, from the storytelling component?
Yeah, I think part of it will be our massive data sets that we have here. One, are really appealing.
Yep.
You can look them up publicly. Anyone that's listening to this, UCI.edu. Look up. I think it's data.uci, right? And everything from our health campus and School of Medicine, everything from neurology to stroke, you name it, heart, cardiac, women's care. I mean, we've got data on all that kind of stuff. That's one. That's really exciting to anyone. Right next to it sits Medtronic, which makes all kinds of medical devices. And we have wet labs and dry labs here where researchers are experimenting. So it's a candy store for an insurer to say,
yeah,
what kind of risk and what kind of data and who's going to work on it, right? We've got PhDs, postdocs, masters, undergrads, all itching to work on that cool capstone project.
Very, very exciting. I'm massively jealous. I'm still trawling through data trying to solve that problem in the London market. And joking aside, we're doing some really cool stuff with automotive and payments as a horizontal. And I just look at that now, and I'm thinking, we've got to catch up. The idea of a digital twin for both the London market and for the US insurance market is a fantastic opportunity to see how data flows through our systems, how modeling where risk can happen. So Stuart, how do people work with you? How do they get in touch with you?
Well, you could give out your cell phone number, and then everyone can call you, and you can put them in touch. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so LinkedIn, it's Stuart with a U, like the little mouse. Mathews has one T, not two T's. Stuart, Stuart Mathews, one T. Or put a period in between the two, stuart.mathews@uci.edu.
Perfect. That's fantastic. And what's the takeaway that people should think about? How do they get going with AI? What's your lasting point?
Yeah, everyone says it in their own ways. I think one is just be aware and accept and start leaning in. You got to become a personal user, just like you as a man and a father. Me is the same. We've got to have certain guiding principles. And if you don't believe in what you're doing or what you're saying, it's not going to succeed. So you got to become a big time consumer. I've got Claude 2 and Anthropic and ChatGPT all on my phone, and I don't Google anymore. Everything is all about how can I organize my thoughts in a way that AI can help me be more accurate and quick. So
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So
I'm
definitely playing with a few of those tools, but I can't get past, with my creative genes, I can't get past the picture creativity side of it. So I just sit in making pictures at the moment.
No, you actually do great pictures, and that's another tip. So I think it's Adobe Firefly. Try that, and you can use amazing prompts. I was with some people on Broadway. They were trying to do AI adoption, and in 30 minutes wrote a 6th act to Pygmalion, My Fair Lady, to improve the ending and do a AI generated thing. It was really fun, and it just showed the power of the tool. We fed in fictitious numbers to see if it was profitable, gave it a budget. And the producers that do this all day, every day, that are pros, looked at it and said, that would take me a month, if not more, to have done that.
Well, that's fantastic.
So how does that translate to insurance? Think of a problem and think of a better way of measuring it, right? I mean, that's one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've been doing a lot of design thinking workshops with insurers around AI, and not just looking at the operational tasks, thinking about the decisions that people are making. How do we include intuition into that as well? And I think we're in a fantastic position. I've been waiting for something like this for 10 years, because I just think it's going to accelerate experimentation, and it's going to be good fun as well, and people are starting to believe in it. I think there's obviously a trust issue that we've got to get over. There's we've got to be able to reference where this data's coming from.
Yep.
But there are companies in my markets that I work in that I never thought would be as far advanced as they are with their automation journey, and they're using the off-the-shelf tools and building their own LLMs. It's very cool stuff. Something I wish we'd had a few
Once you
more
get
years ago.
started, you start to see things open up for you. So you just got to get started, and if nothing else, use it to start shaping up your proposed idea to yourself.
Yeah.
Right. How do I want to frame
definitely.
this? I want it in 5 parts. My budget's $1 million, whatever.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to cut us off. So thank you, Stuart. That's been really, really interesting. It's great to see what's going on in adjacent industries and how it can overlap with insurance. Thank you for your time. And I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks. It was good talking to you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.